Hello, Internet. This is Sophia, the Red Angel, doing my best on this channel to produce content that is worth your time to watch and listen to. Recently, I did a video that you can find linked to in this video's YouTube video description area, a video on how being unable to pray can at times be the biggest challenge that atheism presents in my life. Toward the end, I explained why I nonetheless find atheism to be worthwhile. In the comments area, someone asked me, if beliefs aren't harmful to self nor others, why negate them? I gave them the short answer, which was, if you allow yourself to believe things without sound evidence, how are you going to know when those beliefs cross the line and start being harmful? Your very ability to discern when unfounded beliefs become harmful requires a mind whose beliefs do rest on sound evidence. I then suggested that I might, in the near future, make a video that provides a more in-depth answer to that question, and that is what I am doing as I make this three-part video presentation. I will begin with a purely illustrative example, and then I will get into a more real-world example. Let us suppose that it gives you comfort to believe that you have an invisible pink unicorn in your apartment. If you have ever taken a philosophy course, you probably know how this goes. Every proposal of how to verify the existence of this unicorn is explained away. For example, if it is suggested that even though it is invisible, you could listen to hear the sounds it makes, you answer that it is also inaudible. When it is suggested that you use your hands to feel around for this invisible, inaudible pink unicorn, you respond that it is also intangible, and so forth. One person I gave this example to said that there is nothing wrong with believing in that invisible, inaudible, intangible pink unicorn if believing that gives you comfort, as long as you do not start feeding it. But if you sincerely do believe that you have the hypothetical creature in question, why would you not feed it? Just because you believe that it is invisible, intangible, inaudible, and whatever else it has to be in order to evade every proposal on how to detect it does not necessarily mean that you believe that it does not need to eat. So what are you going to do? Let this animal starve? If you truly believe with all sincerity that this highly improbable beast is there in your living room, you would have to be someone who is indifferent to animal suffering if you do not feed it. So basically, by believing that you have this extraordinary creature in your living room without any sound evidence for it, just because you feel that this belief gives you comfort, you put yourself in a situation in which you would have to be some kind of a cold-hearted monster to avoid doing something that in actuality is harmful. Now, let us suppose that we are no longer talking about one person who believes that they have such a fantastical creature in their apartment, but a neighborhood full of people who believe that. Eventually, it would become pretty apparent that the food left for the unprovable unicorn is being left uneaten, except for the tiny bit that is being eaten by maggots, flies, and the occasional mice, rats, and other vermin. There would be two ways that people who believe in this unicorn could react. One would be to finally question your unfounded belief in this being of whose existence you have absolutely zero evidence. Another way would be to add one more undetectability trait to this creature, one that prevents you from seeing any sign of the food left for it being eaten. Those who add that one trait in order to persist in their unfounded belief can be subdivided based on what trait they add to this unicorn to explain the observation of the food not getting eaten. Some of them might simply say that in addition to being invisible, inaudible, intangible, and whatever else, the unicorn also is non-eating, does not eat. Others, however, may conclude that the unicorn, upon eating, naturally creates an illusion that the food is untouched. Those who believe that the food not being touched is an illusion can be further subdivided into how they explain away the observation of the vermin that does eat the food. Some might say that the illusion of the food is so convincing that it fools not only humans, but also fools all the vermin who come to eat the food because they think that it is there for them. Others, however, might claim that the maggots, flies, mice, rats, and whatever else are themselves a part of the illusion, thereby making them the most extreme of the unicornists. So basically, there are 4 groups defined by their differing reactions to the observation of the unicorn food not getting eaten. There are the ex-unicornists who no longer believe in the unicorn. Then there are the non-feeding unicornists, followed by the moderate feeders who believe that the food is being eaten while acknowledging the vermin who are attracted by the illusion of the food not being eaten. And finally, the extreme feeders who believe that the vermin is part of the illusion. Anyway, those who not only continue believing that there is a unicorn, but also continue believing that it needs to eat, are not just harming themselves. They are also harming their neighbors, because an infestation of vermin in one apartment can easily affect nearby ones. But you might think that the unicornists who believe that the invisible pink unicorn is non-eating are harmless because, just like those who overcame their unicorn delusions, they are no longer leaving food out for their non-existent pet. But are they harmless? Well, if someone else in the neighborhood is experiencing loneliness, even these unicornists might try to help that person by teaching them to gain comfort from the unicorn in their apartment, thereby converting more people to the belief in the unverifiable beast. This new convert may become a fellow non-feeding believer, but they also might, upon starting to believe in this unicorn, start wondering how that unicorn is to be nourished, thereby being radicalized into one more member of the feeder cult. But hey, you might say, this is a made-up example. How many people do you know who really believe in such a unicorn living in their apartment? And true, this example is made up, but as an illustration. Having given this illustration, I can now go on to a more real-life example. And the 4 ways people in the hypothetical unicornist community might react to seeing the food not getting eaten, all 4 of these possible reactions have analogs in the real-world example that I will give. But since this video is getting long enough, I'm afraid that I will have to defer that to part 2 of this presentation, which you will find a link to in this video's YouTube video description area by the time that part 2 becomes visible to the public. I hope that you are enjoying this presentation. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave your comment in the comments area below. Also, if you would like to support me making more of these videos, please visit my Ko-Fi page, which you can find a link to in the YouTube video description area of this video. I would like to thank my very first Ko-Fi supporter, Hannah Babette, for a one-time contribution of $12 made on April 17th. And until next time, see ya!